Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of the MMA Take Podcast. And fuck, I don't know what to say. I mean, we're gonna have a very interesting podcast ahead of us, man. Like, there is so much shit we need to talk about. UFC 229, Jesus motherfucking Christ, holy shit, just. I don't know what to say. Like, what the fuck? It was fun. I tell you that. It was a decent card, to be fair. You know, the main card was fun, very fun. You know, only one of the fights went to decision. I think that was the Michelle Watson Felice Herrig fight. So a lot of finishes. But yeah, fun. Well, kind of the Dominic Reyes and OSP fight, but we'll talk about that eventually. But I suppose there is nowhere else to start off anything or talking about any. Like, we just have to start off at the fucking Conor McGregor Khabib fight. We just have to. So, I'm probably just gonna break this down first. You know, let's just break this fight down and how we saw it, and fucking, you know, just break it down round by one, and then whatever happens at the end of the fight, we'll talk about it then. So, you know, my thoughts on the fight real quick. Khabib was just dominant. You know, in that first round, you know, Conor was, you know, you really wanted Conor to start striking cleanly and sharply. And personally, if you ask me, in that first fight, in the first round, or just in the fight in general, Conor didn't look as sharp as he normally does. He normally looks way more on point and way more tuned in and way more fluid, and he just didn't look the same, you know. Conor, like, hasn't fought in the UFC for 2 years, and, you know, everyone says, oh, ring rust this and ring rust that, and he was training and training and shit, but training is different to being in a fight with a fucking Dagestani fucking monster. Like, it is just, I think it showed. It really did show that Conor hasn't been in the game for a while, because he did struggle, and he just didn't look the same, and that is definitely down to the ring rust for sure. You know, that first round he did do a pretty good job of stopping the takedown for as long as he did, but then as soon as Khabib got it, you know, Khabib did what many of us thought he would have done that first round if he did get a takedown, which was just lie on top of him and wear Conor out. And 100% you saw that. Just that exact happen. Just, you know, get taken down, and you kept seeing Khabib, once, you know, Conor was on the floor, he'd like trap Conor's legs, so, you know, obviously Conor couldn't even get up. It's such a clever little thing. I think it was either Dominic Cruz or Joe Rogan pointed out on the commentary, where, you know, as soon as Khabib's got Conor on the floor, that's it, he traps their legs, and this is such a successful thing to use, and it shows that, you know, Conor wasn't getting any chance of getting up when Khabib had his legs tied up like that. So brilliant. And in the second round, this was a much more just pro Khabib fucking, you know, round. You know, in the second round, you just had Khabib legit just take him down the whole round. It was just complete, just mauling. You know, you had a pretty decent ground and pound as well, from Khabib. You know, it was just a dominant round. You know, I saw a lot of people, when they were scoring the rounds on you know, on Twitter and stuff, a lot of people saying that they probably had that for a 10-8 for Khabib. So I wouldn't be surprised. You know, it was just such a mauling of a round. And then obviously in that third round, you had Khabib. I can't remember which one it is. If it was the first or second round, no, the second or third round, where Khabib threw that fucking overhand right. Jesus Christ, what a shot that was! That overhand right was amazing. I don't think, I know in the third round it was the only one that I had McGregor win. It was the only round that Conor looked slightly, you know, fucking in control. You know, he was really struggling. I think he only really controlled this fight purely because Khabib was just so tired from, you know, the ground and pound in the fight from Khabib in the second round. You know, the ground and pound must have wore him out a little bit. So it was pretty obvious that he was missing out there. And then obviously in the fourth is where we got the finish, and yeah, just madness, you know. Obviously you had Khabib just, you know, beautiful finish, you know, gets the you know, the takedown, and just takes his time with it, you know, big ground and pound, and then, you know, gets a triangle choke in, and, you know, tries different positions, you know, was on top of McGregor's guard for a while, you know, then obviously Conor turned around and Khabib just wrapped him up there with the with the choke, and that was all she wrote, really. In terms of the fight, you know, I'm fully ill, so you're just gonna hear loads of coughing and all sorts today. But you know, you had the official result as Khabib defeating Conor McGregor via submission via neck crank in the fourth round at 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And honestly, in terms of just the fight, man, it was just that was the coming out party for Khabib, you know. It's such a shame what happened after. It really is, and I understand it all, and trust me, we're gonna break all that shit down. But it is just a case of Khabib looked amazing, and, you know, the whole time that Conor McGregor's been this big staple in the UFC, everyone said put him against a wrestler and you'll see what happens, and put him against a wrestler and you'll see what happens. And he fought, you know, Chad Mendes, and he was able to deal with it, and he fought Eddie Alvarez and was able to deal with it. And then you know, all those people that said, you know, he needs to fight a wrestler, he needs to fight a wrestler. Well, fucking, he got one, and it just showed, though, didn't it? It showed how much of a monster Khabib is on the floor. And I think his stand-up pretty much, I'm obviously not saying his stand-up is anywhere near Conor McGregor, and it's so obvious that Conor McGregor wasn't himself. Conor McGregor was not the McGregor that we've seen before. It really wasn't. He definitely suffered from ring rust. There is no shadow of a doubt. 100%. He just didn't even look. You know, that first round we were expecting it to be pro McGregor at least, and I think fucking 99% of people had the first round for Khabib because of the takedown and stuff. But if you had asked people before the fight who's going to win that first round, most people would have said McGregor. So, you know, it says a lot about, you know, what people are expecting out of Conor and what actually turned up. And I've said it a million times now, it is 100% down to ring rust and him being so inactive, and Khabib really stepping up to his plate. I think the whole trash talk leading up to this fight, I think it backfired on Conor for the first time in Conor's career in terms of trash talking. This is the first time that it's definitely bit back. It looked like it fueled Khabib a lot. It looked like it fucking lit a fire up his ass. It really did, man. He went for Conor. From the littlest of things, man, just mauling him, to fucking having the submission longer than, you know, holding that submission that bit longer after the tap. It was pretty surreal to watch Conor McGregor tap out again, don't get me wrong, but against a monster like Khabib, like I said, you know, in my prediction was pretty bang on, you know, in terms of the non-biased prediction. Obviously, my biased prediction was Conor McGregor, and I think this loss really puts it into perspective for Conor. I'm just going to quickly whack up McGregor's Conor's fucking Conor's record. I don't know why I'm struggling on the fucking word record. If I'm just pulling up Conor's record here, so in terms of the UFC, right, in terms of big fights that Conor's had in the UFC, these are the main ones, and these are 100% the main ones that Conor's had. You've had the Jose Aldo fight, obviously, the two Nate Diaz fights, Eddie Alvarez and Khabib. That's 5 fights. That's 5 big fights he's had in the UFC. And add in one more, you'd say, if you just look at Conor McGregor and the biggest fights he's had, you'd start with Jose Aldo, and you'd obviously including the Khabib one, and then also the Mayweather fight. Now, looking at those big these big fights, I lost to Khabib, I lost to Mayweather, and I lost to Nate Diaz. Now, I'm sure the top 3 pay-per-views or the top 2 pay-per-views are one's defo the Nate Diaz one, and I'm sure he lost that one. This Khabib one's going to be up there, and obviously the Mayweather and McGregor one was just such a big one anyway. Is this, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is the downfall for McGregor now, lost to Khabib. He can't, he loves these big fights, but on some of these big fights, he can't do it. Which, okay, fair play. The boxing one doesn't really make too much sense, because I think, 90% of the world's population thought he was going to lose that fight anyway. But this loss to Khabib does make me think a little bit, just, fucking hell. I just think, in terms of Khabib anyway, Khabib Nurmagomedov is Conor McGregor's fucking kryptonite for sure. I just think it's just something that Conor can't beat. Khabib is he's sculpted to beat Conor McGregor every time. 10 times out of 10, he'll beat Conor McGregor. It's just the way it is. It's just stylistically how they match up is just perfect for each other. But it's just a case of Khabib's style is just a bit more overwhelming. And in terms of energy output, it's pro Khabib again. It like I said, it is perfect and flawless really from Khabib. Khabib didn't really even get caught with a clean shot, let alone look in trouble at any point in the fight. Pretty underwhelmed by Conor's performance in the fight. And then obviously the brawl happened. So I'm just going to quickly break down the brawl. I know everyone who's listening to this has heard the brawl and has seen the brawl 1,000,001 times. Another cough. So this fucking brawl. So as soon as Khabib wins the fight, he goes straight over to Conor's corner and throws his mouthpiece at Conor's cornerman, thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Then, if on another video, I'm not going to keep saying this video, I'm just going to talk about the whole scenario, but I've seen a part where, Dylan Dennis is egging Khabib on. So Khabib goes and jumps the cage and fucking, now we know why Khabib's called the Eagle, because of that fucking jump. He looks like a fucking eagle. He's amazing. Some of the memes I've seen today have been fucking hilarious. So you had Khabib jump in the fucking cage like an eagle and went straight for Dylan Dennis. Didn't we, I want to say that Dylan Dennis probably landed more fucking damage to Khabib than Conor did, and that's not even a joke. That's legit. It looked like Dylan Dennis got a few licks in, and obviously the security did a great job. To be fair to the UFC, they get criticised for a lot of shit, but the security that they had did a really good job, because that could have been 15 times worse. And let me just explain the situation, because there's so many things I want to talk about, and I just don't want to get distracted too much, but I will try and loop back to everything. But so you've had Khabib jump out the cage, and Dylan Dennis getting separated, and then it looks like one of Khabib's cornermen runs across the cage and is looking to jump over the same part of the cage that Khabib did. Whether it was to jump into the fight or get Khabib back, we'll never know, because as he's at the top of the cage, McGregor is, jumping over the cage as well. So at this point, I've seen so many people go, "Oh, Conor hit him first," and I, for a long time I did believe that Conor did hit the guy on the cage first, but I saw a video earlier today where it looked like, because the Khabib's guy was sitting flush, sitting one leg on the one side of the cage and one leg on the other, he was riding the fucking cage basically. So he was in a comfortable position, but as Conor only had the one leg up, it looked like one of Khabib's cornermen grabbed Conor's ankle to stop, obviously, Conor going all the way over. So I kind of threw the punch to, get the fuck off my leg. And that's where their little scramble started. Then obviously you had these two lads, of Khabib's team, who jumped in the cage, and you all know who I'm on about when I'm on about the one in the black and the one in the red. So these are the two men that, as soon as Conor gets brought down from the cage with the scrap with the other Khabib's cornerman, they get separated. But then you see the one in the black run over to the one that just was scrapping Conor on the cage, just seeing what's going on. He goes straight for Conor, but before he gets there, the fucking dickhead in the red, bare knuckle, hits Conor at the fucking back of the head, which is just, what the fuck. Conor easily got licked by 2 clean shots at the back of the head too, which is, there's a reason that's illegal in MMA and fucking boxing, is because stem of the brain, the back of the head, if you get hit there, that can cause some serious damage, especially with bare knuckle as well. And don't forget, those are fighters, so it's not like it's just some pisshead throwing a punch. It is, these motherfuckers are trained fighters who know how to throw a punch and know how to throw it to fucking put some serious damage on someone. So those 2 fucking dickheads had no fucking right. They were being fucking dicks. This is just such a mess. So you had those fucking 2 dickheads scrap with Conor. The situation kind of calmed down from there a little bit. They get, everyone away from Conor, and Khabib finds his way back in the cage somehow. Dana White even said it himself. 2 people that did a great job in terms of just fucking calming Khabib down was DC and Luke Rockhold. If it weren't for them 2 to be there, yeah, it could have been a bit more worse, let's just say. But again, the security did such a good job there anyway. So, then eventually you had Conor leave, and Khabib was back in the cage going, come on, let's fucking put this belt back on me, man. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've, been looking for my whole career. This is my chance. And, that was his opportunity to be like, boom, on the biggest stage. This is easily going to break every pay-per-view record that UFC's, ever had. It will be the biggest fight in UFC history. It was the biggest fight in his career for sure. Potentially even the biggest fight in Conor's, unless the rematch, but again, we'll talk about that eventually. This was his opportunity to be like, fucking here we go. This is what I've been working for. He's finally going to be getting the recognition he deserves in terms of just a mainstream. Khabib Nurmagomedov's name has been thrown around everywhere. But it's just so sad. I'm really disappointed for Khabib, not in Khabib, but for Khabib, because he really did deserve this. He fought the perfect fight. There is no reason to be taking any belts off anyone or taking a loss off anyone, because the fight had ended. The fight had ended clearly, and then all this madness happened. So there's no reason to affect the fight at all. The fight happened. The fight finished cleanly. There was no controversy, no bullshit. So the win and the belt should stay the way it is. There's no doubt in that. But then obviously you had the whole instance where Khabib was like, put the fucking belt on me. This is what I've been working for. Come on, you saw that fight. I fought a hard fucking fight in there. 4 rounds. Dominated your boy. Put this fucking belt on me. And it's fair play to Dana White. He had a very valid response saying, I can't put this belt on you, because if I do, there's who knows what the fuck's gonna happen. The crowd was rolled up for sure. It was very pro Conor. They'll be throwing a lot of shit in that cage, which is what Dana White said. And Khabib responded with, I'm ready. I know this, I'm ready. And Dana White's like, I know you're ready, but I can't risk everyone else's fucking danger, which, fair play. And Khabib kind of understood, and it took a bit of force to get him out of there. But once he got out of there, he got out of there. Threw beers, a few beers were thrown at him just right at the end there, but nothing major. And just looking back, I think everyone looking back, as soon as the fight ended and as soon as it happened, it was outrage everywhere. Everyone was fucking pissed. And now that more and more shit's coming out and everyone's had to really think about it, everyone's like, No one got hurt. No one really got hurt. You had two dickheads. Now, I'm not the only part of this whole thing that I do not condone for sure were those two people that hate Conor. For sure. Don't fucking... It was Khabib's choice to go out of there and get out of the cage and throw a punch at Dylan Dennis. So, obviously, Dylan had every right to throw a punch at Khabib back. But the other competitor, I suppose, the only person that probably had a right to punch Conor was the one who met him on top of the cage. It feels like I'm describing a fucking wrestling event here on the top of the cage, but no. On top of the cage, yeah, it is on top of the cage. You guys know what I mean. That guy who held his ankle, they had an altercation, and they were the only people really who had justification of throwing punches, but those two dickheads didn't, especially the one in the red. I'm sure the one in the red was meant to fight what's his name? Artem. He was meant to fight Artem Lobov in a month or two in November sometime. So obviously he's definitely just out of the UFC for sure. I'm sure the other guy was a fighter too. I'm sure they both were. So they're fucked. And they deserve to be, because what a dickhead move. Now, do I blame Khabib and do I think Khabib should, first off, even just fucking, get any punishment for this? And this is what I think. That fucking Brendan Schaub said it the best, and he said it on his podcast earlier today. He said that the only people really that you could put any blame on is the media and the consumers, which is just the fans. Is because when Conor McGregor throws his dolly through the fucking bus, and when Conor says the X about there was whatever he said about Khabib's dad and religion and family and all that bullshit, right? We eat that shit up and we tweet about it and we put it on Instagram and we get likes and we talk about it and that gets views and we write about it and that gets readers, and it really is a fault of us as consumers, where we get so caught up in almost the wrestling antics of it that we kind of just, we love it. For God's sake, so many people loved the whole bus incident that they put it in the promo, and UFC had every right to put it in the promo. Everyone's like, oh, the UFC shouldn't have put it in the promo and XYZ, but Dana White said it a million more times, it is a part of the storyline, and it is. And the reason it is such a big deal is because people loved it when it happened. They were like, holy shit, we need this Conor McGregor Khabib fight now. Khabib saying, send me location. Yes, 100% we need this. This is the best fight. It will be the biggest fight. It worked. They put it in every promo and it sold the fight. Now, don't get me wrong. The way the fight should have been sold was for you guys that saw the pay-per-view and saw the first 2-3 minutes of the pay-per-view. They did a John Malkovich, who's his voice is perfect for the promo. They did John Malkovich fucking promo for the fight, where it basically was him just saying this is the best versus the best. And that's all you had to promote this fight as, was the best versus the motherfucking best. That promo was perfect, by the way. That was a phenomenal promo. That promo is definitely up there with the DC and John Jones fight too. 100%, it was up there. That was perfect. If only that was released way in advance and, we didn't have to wait till fight night. It got me amped for the fight, by the way. It's such a fucking perfect promo. But there was no dolly bullshit in there. There was no Conor saying this about Chechens and this about Dagestanis and this about Russians and this about Khabib's dad, and there was none of that bullshit. It was, look what Conor's done in his career in 13 seconds and rematches, and look what Khabib's done, undefeated, never beaten, Mauler. That was the narrative of that promo, and it was perfect. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I'm sure we will be getting so much more news and information as the days go on. One thing that has happened in the days go on, like I've said, is that every single person I think has looked back and gone, not a big deal. No one got hurt. And they had a scrap. If it's a rematch, fucking hell, you can guarantee it's going to be in the promo. Yeah, for sure it's going to be in the promo. You know, but, you know, the whole thing with Khabib now, like the whole thing where, you know, they've still got Khabib's purse, which is of $2 million. You know, Conor got his $3 million purse, and they held both at the start and then gave Conor his, but they're still holding Khabib to this day. What is it? It's the Tuesday I'm recording this, late Tuesday evening. Khabib has still not got his purse. Will he get it? Fucking, I don't even know. Dana White came out earlier today. I want to read the quote because I don't want to get it wrong. I've saved so much shit. It's crazy. Here we go. So, UFC boss Dana White says that if it was up to him, Khabib would only receive his $2 million purse, but only receive a $250,000 fine and a 4 to 6 month suspension. You know, this sort of suspension would allow Khabib to keep his belt. And obviously, that's a 4 to 6 month suspension is probably what people take between fights anyway when they're champions. So it wouldn't really fuck shit up too much. And really, what is $250,000 when, you know, this purse anyway that the Nevada State Athletic Commission are even holding, this $2 million is fuck all compared to what Conor McGregor and Khabib are actually going to make in terms of the pay-per-view sales. They will make 8 million each, maybe more. Way more. Conor McGregor way more because of the whole, you know, he's got the sponsorship deal and everything, so maybe that's just him. But in terms of pay-per-view points, the Conor McGregor and Khabib are about to get paid, son, like big time. So I don't think Khabib's so much worried about the money. It is a case of how fucking big of a dick is the Nevada State Commission going to be, because it is the main commission in terms of MMA in the US. So if they were going to suspend Khabib for 4 years, I know it's just for an example, but if they wanted to do it for 4 years, most likely the rest of the states will do it as well, just because it is the biggest governing body in terms of MMA in the US. What do I think is going to happen personally? I think it's just going to be like Dana White said. I think it will only be a small, not a small fine, but a fine and a short suspension. If they do a long suspension, then they'll be ruining their chances of a rematch between these two men. And think about the money there. And you know, the fucking UFC and the Nevada State Athletic Commission are in cahoots anyway. To fucking look what happened with the whole when Conor threw those monster cans and shit. So, like I said, Khabib will be fine. It really will be. He really will be fine. He don't need to worry about visas, and he'll be fine because there's no way the Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to be going too crazy. Now, is Khabib justified of what he's doing? Personally, yes. And something came out, I'm not 100% if it's true or not. I've seen it a few times, but again, this is just potential rumour. But throughout the fight, Dylan Dallas was hurling abuse at Khabib, calling him a Muslim rat. So obviously we know throughout the build-up, kind of call him a Dagestani rat. So if fucking Dylan Dallas had the word Muslim in there, I wouldn't be too surprised really. This was just a vile fucking lead up in terms of these two, just fucking verbally. Some of the shit that Conor McGregor was saying was just, you know, it was a bit, don't get me wrong, it was a bit like, what the fuck, but again, it sold the fight. It is a part of the fight game, and to be fair, I didn't expect Khabib to do what he did, you know. You look at Khabib, he's such a cerebral and fucking calm guy, you know, obviously being such a strict Muslim that he is, you know, and just brought up the way he is. He's humble. He doesn't really get too fucking emotional the way he normally does, you know. So it was really, really weird and just crazy to see Khabib reacting the way he did. But if he was getting racial abuse like that, then fucking fuck it. He had every right to do it anyway, and I think he had every right to do it anyway, to be fair. some of the shit that was being said. Don't get me wrong, it's a part of the fight game, but you know what else is a part of the fight game? If your cornermen want to chat shit and they want to eat a slap after, it's a part of the fucking fight game. This is all a part of the fight game, trust me. It is not a big deal. If fucking Khabib had went out of there, right, and started landed that stomping kick, whatever he did, yeah, and he landed that straight on fucking Dylan Dallas's head, yeah, and caved his fucking head in, then fair play. But that's how it felt, how people were reacting. People were reacting like Khabib jumped out of that cage, pulled a knife out and fucking gutted fucking Dylan Dallas. They got like 4 or 5 shots on off each other. There was no blood. So, kind of, you know, not even a big fucking deal, like, Jesus Christ. So many, the scene, so many people get so outraged. It is pretty funny. It's pretty annoying too, just because, you know, I just wish this didn't happen purely because Khabib deserved that moment there where, you know, Bruce Buffer says, "I'm still," and that belt gets wrapped around his waist. You know, Khabib 100% deserved that moment, but if we get a rematch, we most likely will get a rematch. Even the way the co-main, the way that happened. If you ask me what I think is going to happen, this is what's going to happen. Even Tony Ferguson looked amazing in his fight. This is what I think has happened. So, I think whoever wins next month, in terms of Diaz and Poirier, will fight on the same card as the rematch, but against Tony Ferguson. So Tony Ferguson will fight either Nate Diaz or Dustin Poirier on the same card as the Conor and Khabib fight round 2. 100% that's going to happen. I would put fucking money on it. Now, when's the best time to do it? Probably, if you ask me, let's do International Fight Week as that one, and then MSG for the big finale fight between, you know, whoever's still champion and whoever wins out of Ferguson versus either fucking Poirier or Diaz. 100% that all makes sense. Will we get Diaz and Conor McGregor free? Not yet. I honestly think the next fight for Khabib and the next fight for Conor just will be when the UFC sees all this money. And Conor's not going to... Conor obviously wants the rematch, and Khabib's like, fucking hell, I beat him once and look how easy that was. Fuck it, I'll do it again. And he will finally get the moment. If he wins, he'll be able to get that moment again where what he's been dreaming for, what he's been hoping for. So personally, I think it'll be a rematch. It's not a big deal. It was fun to. It was crazy to see. No one really got hurt. You know, the people that really got punished and who needed to get punished were those 2 dickheads that hit Conor. So, you know, that happened, and you know, they've both been fucking fucked out of the UFC anyway. Excuse me. So they've been fucked out of the UFC anyway. You know, don't forget, they did get imprisoned, and then Conor didn't want to press charges. I think if Conor, you know, it's just not really like Conor. You know, the one thing I would always say about Conor McGregor is he knows how to handle a win or a loss. You never see Conor McGregor win a fight and laugh in someone's face, or no matter what gets said, or even with the fucking Nate Diaz fight, the one that he won, so the second fight between Diaz and McGregor, as soon as that fight was over, they those two were hugging each other and all sorts. So, you know, that's the one thing I really do admire about Conor. He knows how to win, and he knows how to lose. So fair play to Conor in terms of that. The melee was the fucking melee. It happened, whatever. But there will be a rematch, I guarantee it. It'll make fucking way more money. It'll get even more casuals involved in the sport. The UFC are laughing, you know. The UFC are going to be on fucking ESPN in a matter of months now, really. So, perfect timing for the UFC. I think they can have that fight. If they get their rematch and everything gets sorted, it'll be a big year for the UFC. A real big year. Because you'll be looking at, you know, the rematch, and you'll be looking at another big lightweight championship fight again, and then just depending on who loses, and if certain people lose, you could even potentially get the Diaz McGregor part 3 fight back. So it could be a big year for the UFC next year, but we'll see what happens. Honestly, personally, what I think will happen, they'll get the rematch. Khabib win again. I think Ferguson will be, get back into the flow of it. I want to see Khabib and Ferguson. We've been promised that fight so many fucking times now. I want to see it. So yeah, that's really that. In terms of fucking just any news quickly, that's, in terms of the fight real quick. I don't know if there's much else. I spoke about the whole Dylan Dallas calling Khabib a fucking Muslim rat was reported by TMZ Sports. Apparently Dallas was running his mouth during the fight, especially during the second round. So, I saw that a few times today, so we'll see what happens there. But, that was the whole Conor McGregor and Khabib fight. And now let's quickly break down the rest of the card. We'll just start from the start. So, Michelle Watterson versus Felice Herrig, perfect for Michelle Watterson. I even said this in the preview episode. Michelle Watterson needed the win to regain some momentum. Even in a post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, she even kind of alluded to the fact that if she really wants to fight for this title, this run that she's gonna, that's on now, it's gonna be a last opportunity. And I think it is. She's a phenomenal fighter. Definitely one that, in my eyes, 30-27 for sure, was just way better than Felice. In every aspect, 100% she's on the title chase. Give her a few ladies there in that strawweight division. Just quickly having a look. Michelle Watson is 7th now. Give her a Tatiana Suarez. Anything against Tatiana Suarez is pretty much ready for a title shot. To be fair, I'd love to see Gudelia versus Watson. To be fair, because why not? If she really wants that last opportunity, you need to beat someone of Claudia Gudelia's stature. So I'd love to see that fight next. But yeah, amazing fight from Watson. Felice didn't really just get her flow in the fight, I don't think she was allowed to, just how Watson was fighting. It really was a case of it was Watterson's perfect performance and Felice's wasn't able to do her thing. And the next fight was fucking amazing. Derek Lewis versus Alexander Volkov, and the first round had Volkov, second round had Volkov, and then that third round happened, and leading up to the fight, all Derek Lewis said was, I've got 1 round to knock him out in. I've got 1 round to knock him out in. And after those 5 minutes, I'm going to be fucked for cardio. And he was. That's what happened. He went for it in that first round, and Volkov really was able to keep him at a distance. And then that second round kind of happened, and it was weird. Obviously Lewis was clearly fucking absolutely dead. Had no energy about him at all. But it also looked like Volkov slowed down a bit. There wasn't much getting thrown in terms of Volkov. Volkov was keeping the distance with the kicks, but I just thought you would have just expected to see him a bit more active. Obviously with fucking Lewis barely throwing anything anyway. But anytime you'd see it, anytime Volkov would throw a kick to the body, you'd just see fucking, Lewis probably did it 3 times in that second round. You'd just see him completely put all of his energy, just built up energy for like a minute and just throw it all in one Hail Mary fucking right hand and just beg it hits. And it really looked like it was troubling Volkov a little bit. Probably that's why he probably slowed down just a little, because he's worried about that overhand right. And trust me, he had every right to be worried about that overhand right, because in the last 10 seconds of the last round, legit all Volkanovski had to do for that last 10 seconds of the third round, he could have fucking ran and backed up for 10 seconds. That's all he had to do. What did he do? He throws a fucking another kick, right? and Derek Lewis goes, "What douche?" And it was the cleanest overhand right. It was all Lewis had thrown in the past 10 minutes, right? Round 2 and round 3, the only punch that Lewis was throwing was a heavy overhand right every time Volkov threw a kick. Legit, every time Volkov kicked, Lewis would take his time and then boom, straight with a fucking overhand right. It was just that the whole time. The fact that Volkov didn't even think, in the last 10 seconds, fuck it, I'll give him another kick. When he clearly won the first 2 rounds and probably the third 2. He was just a more active fighter because Lewis was throwing nothing. All he had to do was just count. He could have counted to 10 in his head and just chilled. But no, he decided to throw a kick and fucking Lewis hits him with a fucking clean overhand right and just shuts him down. And Derek Lewis won that fight, and fucking hell, it was just crazy. And in the news today, it looks like they're already looking at Lewis versus Cormier, for the New York card, which is fucking crazy. Just a crazy turnaround in general. He's only just come off a fight camp, and straight away within a month they wanted to go train for fucking DC for a heavyweight championship belt. It's just crazy, but we'll see if that happens. Obviously, it's just rumoured. But, after the fight and after that amazing knockout by Lewis, you probably get one of the best post-fight interviews with Joe Rogan after, where you just see fucking Lewis take his shorts off and just go, "My balls were hot." And it's just the best thing ever. Derek Lewis being Derek Lewis. One of the best things probably to come out of the whole weekend was before the fight, or probably the easiest way to describe this fight was within 24 hours of, so it was in like the day of the fight happening, and then like 12 hours after the fight, right? Derek Lewis gained 500,000 followers on Instagram, which is amazing. Like, how amazing is that? Obviously, you had Joe Rogan say 1,000,001 times on the commentary how good his Instagram game is, and it looked like people listened. They must have liked him enough to go follow his Instagram, and him getting 500,000 fucking followers within such a short space of time is amazing. In terms of the next fight, OSP versus Dominic Reyes. Holy shit, this Dominic Reyes kid, I didn't know much about him before. Like I said in the preview, but fucking hell do I know him now. OSP's known for being a slow starter. So those first 2 rounds were 100% fucking Reyes. He just looked good, man. He's undefeated. He's now 10-0 after winning this. He officially won the fight via decision, but that was if you ask me, that was a clean motherfucking knockout of the last. Very clean. That was clean as it fucking gets, but it is what it is. Fucking, if you ask me, that was just a clean knockout, but you know what? He got the win either way. It doesn't matter, but light heavyweight, man. This is a young guy who finally put some fucking reignite this fucking division, man. It's been a bit of an old man, kind of ball fest in the moment, with Reyes and Anthony Smith on the up. Hopefully, the light heavyweight division is kind of bulking up a little bit. And the last fight we're going to talk about was that co-main event. Holy fucking shit. I'm sure it got fight of the night. Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis. Holy shit. Ferguson, first thing I want to say about Ferguson is he didn't look that confident when he got kicked in that knee. In the first round, Pettis hit a fucking low kick right on that knee. And Ferguson didn't look comfortable after that. He looked like he kind of struggled a little bit and was hobbling around and didn't want to make it too obvious, but many, many people who've had that same injury on their knee saying when you get kicked, it is the scariest feeling in the world because you don't know if it's going to give up on you. And loads of people have said that it takes a while. It really does take a long time to get used to getting kicked in your knee again. And which was so obvious because as soon as Pettis hit him with the kick, it looked like Ferguson went, fucking shit, what the fuck's going on? And, kind of panicked a bit and didn't look the same. He didn't look the same anyway, to be fair. And obviously coming off a big injury, he had every right to look like the way he did. And, Ferguson in the first and second round it was great. It was just such a fun fight. It was such a great fight. Back and forth, blood everywhere. Just amazing, and this was even the perfect loss for Anthony Pettis. So just obviously at the end of the second round, they were both getting ready to get up for the third, and Pettis broke his hand, and the corner stopped it, which Duke Rufus is one of the best fucking in the game, and when he calls a fight off, you don't really disagree with it too much, and you wouldn't disagree with the stoppage here. Why would Pettis break his right hand, which is his main fucking most powerful hand, and go and fight another fight against Tony Ferguson, who was already piecing him apart anyway, But I'll tell you one thing, Anthony Pettis looked like the Anthony Pettis of old. He looked like he's having some serious fun in there, he looked creative again. It looked like he had that creative spark again, with the different punches and the different kicks. It looked like he's on a bit of fun, and he licked Tony Ferguson. Let's not forget, he dropped Ferguson in the first round, I think it was. So, it was just a fun fight. It really was a great fight. Deserved fight of the night for sure. And yeah, so that was it. That was UFC 229. Probably hands down the most memorable and just biggest fight that will ever happen in the UFC. I think no one will ever forget fucking UFC 229. I definitely know I won't. For many different reasons, UFC 229 could be the official downfall of Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor could potentially lose this and then lose the rematch and think, fuck MMA, and that's it, never fight again. You never know. But fucking hell, what a fight card. What a pay-per-view. Fucking hell, what a crazy world we live in, man. But yeah, so thank you all for listening to the 15th episode of the MMA Take Podcast. I appreciate you listening. Don't forget to listen to us wherever you are. So we're on fucking YouTube, Twitch, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Yeah, just go listen to us wherever you are. Give us a rating wherever you are. If you enjoyed this shit, if you stuck around for this long, I appreciate it. Tweet me any of your views on the UFC. I know there's a Bellator card that's coming up too. The Chelson and Fedor one. I was going to break it down, but then I just got so caught up in this whole UFC stuff. Just a quick prediction, if anyone's still here, I doubt it. But I've got Fedor winning by knockout. I think, yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I probably won't even watch it live. It is in the Grand Prix though, so we'll see. But I'll probably got Fedor winning that fight anyway. But yeah, thank you all for listening to us, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.